click the link in the description. Go right now. Go click it and watch our One Piece reactions. We started a new channel. This is a really big deal for us. Please go there. This is we're really excited about this. Please go watch we're doing live action. We explain it all over there. Live action first, then the anime. Right now, live action. Go watch the reactions right now. Link in the description.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone back to another Boldcast reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is Hunter x Hunter episode 125. What happened last time?
Last time, Palm versus Killua. Palm, in the end, was able to retain herself, her emotions, and get it all back to normal. Killua was really sad, and he feels like there's nothing he can do for Gon, but Palm has reassured him that he is who Gon needs the most.
Exactly. See that reaction last time. See 20 episodes plus ahead on patreon.com/boldcast. Link in the description. Check that out to get very ahead on uncut reactions and get a bunch of exclusive stuff and much more. Hope you enjoy. Let's go. Hunt for your dream in that comment section and sing the wrong lyrics to some Disney movie or the wrong song for what you were talking about in the like button. No, don't even comment that. Just sing it. Just sing an inappropriate, like just a random Disney song to yourself while you click the like button.
We'll know if you do it or not.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. We haven't heard that in a while.
I know. Was this a new song, or has this song been in here before?
I think it was new. If it wasn't, we maybe heard it one time. I think it was new. No, we've heard it before. Remember they were just kids messing around?
Yeah. Great power, X and X ultimate power.
Oh shit.
ゴングを思うキルアの言葉が奇跡的にファームを元の戻した。その頃、西東のメレオロンの再三の正義、プフとの直接対決に臨んだナックルが
You better watch
彼らの
out.
前に現していた。
Oh god.
NETERO や。
いいでしょう。お相手します。ですが、その前にまず言っておきましょう。ここにいる私はいわば分身。本体はすでに王の元へと向かっています。
Pito's so scared right now.
自身が煙の檻から脱出した
Little recap.
ナックルとモラウが接触し
分身のことはボスから聞いてる。事実だ。
ナックルが口にしたのはためである。
But Gon wasn't fucking.
真実を述べることで心理的に先手を打つ。プフの企みは成功した。
だが出せ。
プフの目的はユピーにあった。ナックルがここにいる以上、ユピーは彼を見逃したことになり、それを自分に黙っ。
理由によっては。
Yeah, he's getting ready to be the only royal guard in a minute here.
彼を納得させるためです。
プフはユピーに感じた変化の真意から探るため、この場を穏便る必要があったのだ。
まず彼を納得させるため、彼は私がこの場から動かないよう要求しています。1対1の勝負なら変えるため要求を撤回させる必要があります。分身、鱗粉も使いません。それでもよろしければお相手します。 望むのはむしろ対話です。英雄への告白です。
背後からわざわざ声をかけの戦いを望む人間には効果的だと夫婦は知っていた。
嘘をつけ。お前はさっき俺を後ろから殺そうとした。自分でもそう言った。騙されるな。まずお前が本体でなく分身だって、その証拠がどこにある？
確かに。
Going sharp. His senses are sharper than they've ever been. Except he is a clone, but
Yeah.
he's just not he's not playing his mental game right now. Whoa. Rescuers Down Under.
I would say that. It's a very personal reason for being here.
ピトーと共に縛られている現状は歓迎すべきなのかもしれません。なぜなら彼は揺るがぬ意志でここにいるから。私が本体かどうかを証明するのは私自身をにするので言えませんね。あなた自身で判断してもらうしか。この後どうするかはあなたにお任せします。
夫婦、まさか。やめろ。
Ah! Leaving?
待ってくれ。僕はここにいる。ことは謝る。僕がいればいいだろう。
Oh my god. Just drawing all those lines on his... Oh my god.
予定より10分早く直せ。
Fucking pouf.
ピトーは戦慄していた。どうなろうと構わないと夫婦が判断し、後にも少なからず動揺した。挑発を意に介さず時間の短縮たゴンを恐れた。
時間は
There must have been like a season turnover or something like that.
With all these
All the recaps.
Yeah.
ダメだ。待てない。
I guess it's 125 maybe. It's like the first episode after 24 episodes or something.
麦を守り完治させたい一心からピトーは時間を意図的に多めに申告し、ゴンはそれを拒否した。で、2人が合意した1時間は
That's really
実は
smart.
の状態を
But
見
now
て
he shortened it.
完治にかかると踏んだ時間だった。幾度かの経験でドクター・ブライスの技術は成長していた。10分は早められるかもしれない。いた矢先であった。偶然かもしれない。岩のセリフにゴンが同調性が高い。そう思いながらピトーは不吉な思いを振り払えずにいた。
命がけになる。こいつの牙は王の喉元にも届きうるかもしれない。
She's worried about him getting to the
分
king.
かった。ナックル。ここは俺一人で大丈夫。ああ言ったけど、夫婦の本体が王のところへ向かったっていう本当だと思う。
Just so calm.
南だよ、王は。
ゴンはキルアと共にその現場に居合わせた。知らないピトーが夫婦とのタッパされていたのだと判断したのは
Had figured it
思考の
out.
流れとして当然であった。
Even though he didn't, he just saw
朦
it.
朧とした恐れが真に変わった瞬間である。ピトーは自らの使命を完全に覚悟した。
To kill Gon.
殺さねばならない。何としても。 こいつを王のために小麦を直した直後か。
You like how Pitou's not just calling her the woman, or
Yeah.
is komugi, or this woman.
Gonna have to give it to one of the other people around.
おめえの言いたいことは理解した。その上で俺は俺のやり方でやる。ユピンは
Imagine you skip that episode and you're watching this.
なんでもね。
Yeah.
It's kind of mysterious.
ゴンに動揺や迷いが生じたらを招くこともある。
Oh, he didn't
Didn't
tell him the
say-
shit about Youpi because
Yeah.
it already shook his resolve,
Yeah.
right? That's why he's sharing it. But if he shares it with him,
Yeah.
with the state he's in, it could destabilize
Be a
his focus.
problem.
Oh
貴
shit!
様が世の名前を知っている。
Like, we had so many problems watching this scene, and then since then we've seen it like 4 times.
It's an important scene.
It is. It's just funny because we couldn't watch it properly on the first try.
王が応じると同時、ネテロは飛んだ。
That was a crazy sound. Oh my god, are we finally getting into this? Holy shit.
いつからだ。
Maybe not.
敵の攻撃を待つようになったのは。いつでもいいぜ。キナ。
The 70-year-old NETERO?
The opponent looks like he's in the Grinch, like after they shave off.
It looks
the
like
middle of
Knuckle
their-
in 20 years and he shaved his head. When did he start? So he's thinking of like, at what point did I reach the level of expertise that I stopped needing to chase after my opponent? That they started to challenge me. How long have I been the one countering? When's the last time I attacked? That's some cold shit. Undertype Guanyin Bodhisattva. $99. I love that. I love the hand signs. So he has 100 attacks.
And he's using 99.
He's using the 99th formation of the attack. Is this really happening?
Just smacking him down. Oh my god. It's like a creepy spider with its like look at that.
This is one of the best fights in anime history, in my opinion.
一体いつからだ。負けた相手が頭を下げながら出してくる両の手に間を置かずに答えられるようになったのは。
That he stopped being gracious and taking their hands in defeat.
そんなんじゃねえだろ。俺が求めた部の極みは。
Oh my god.
敗色恋難敵にこそ手望むこと。
The music.
When they break into like this ancient like Gobekli Tepe type shit, like ancient tombs from thousands of years ago.
Oh my god.
Apparently the desert wasn't cool enough. A 10,000-year-old structure underground that Jing would be pissed off that they're defacing right now. Listen to this music.
I know.
I wish I could turn up the bass. I don't want to do it. I'm just gonna turn up. Can I? Or is it good enough for you?
It's good enough for me. unfazed.
ここは墓場。貴様の名。
貴様. He's not surprised anymore. He learns quick. Did you see the rock? To give you context?
Just how fast, yeah. And just the king just dodges.
The music with this vision. They got the fucking whole John Williams orchestra.
Oh my god.
He is pissed. I love just the.
Oh my god.
It's kind of like One Punch Man versus Boros.
That was crazy though. He just like spun her.
Yeah, he's like, he has the traction, and then you see the sparks, and he trips and is rolling like.
And then just like flailing around.
They really got the weight of this weightless thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not conjured. I'm very thankful. He should have been grateful, I think. Oh shit.
お前と出会えたこれまでの全てに。
How fucking crazy is that shit? Oh my goodness. Oh my fucking goodness.
That was crazy. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you lead the discussion.
I loved like when it was like smacking him across.
You can play it if you want to turn down the volume.
I just want to find that part where he like was smacking him because it was so good. Like how he's like resisting it, and then like tries to fight back. Like he tries to fight back, or he trips and then
and then he still tries to get himself like
and then he's just flying through there. He looks like I don't know, like a sock monkey or something. It's just
yeah. Again, it's like it's quality animation. Like anybody can animate. Not anybody. Skilled animators can animate great high frame count action, but the meaty qualities, for lack of like the human like fleshy qualities of like muscle and bone.
Well, and there's a way to do it.
And tension and resistance and weight.
And
those
the weight,
things like really communicating that is the next step. I think
we talked about that a lot in Invincible.
Yeah.
And what was the thing that we were saying it didn't have any weight? Like in something like Blue Lock, where it felt like a lot of the movements were like done in like a there's no
zero G chamber.
There's no resistance of any kind. But this is really good, and what's good about it is it has that like super intensity, and we're getting all these like crazy perspectives of like up close, and you know he's flicking around and he's moving around all over the place, but it doesn't feel too crazy. It just feels like, I don't know how to describe it. Like it just feels very natural. Like when he's flipping around, it doesn't just feel like, oh, we just like stretched out everything and like made it not even look like a person. It's like there's art.
It looks like the king is there. Yeah. Not just like, oh, we cut off the. Sorry, you keep going. Sorry.
I'm just trying to say.
Keep going. Keep going. Sorry.
With the whole like weight and the way a body can move, and how to make something look like it's a limp body being like flung around by force, versus like you can just draw the like contorted shape of a person, but to be able to make it actually look like it's
like relatable.
Yeah, it's like you can envision that is a living thing that is moving in a way that it usually does not. It's like that there's so much force that they aren't moving their arms and legs. It's being like, you know, taken away from them. They're being propelled along.
What I get is like there's like 3 levels for me. It's like there's a lot of times it feels like we're in normal show, and the characters are talking, and it's like, this is the character. This is like the character. It sounds like the character with the voice actor. It looks like the character with the design. The animation of the character, it like just in their dialogue embodies the thing. The lighting, it feels like they're, like we talked a lot in the Jujutsu live streams where we watched about compositing, but like that was a subject that came up while we were rewatching Jujutsu season 1, because somebody in the chat was talking about that, and it got me thinking about that. All these things, like in the dialogue and when the characters are interacting, it feels like them. And then when you, a lot of times the worst aspect of sometimes when you get like, okay, now we're turning the animation on and it's gonna be good. Sometimes what can happen is it feels like you cut off the show and now it's like the person drew a stick figure animation and the character designs were sort of grafted onto whatever you drew going on in it. That's one thing where it's like there's a lot of good action. The action is high frame count and it looks kind of smooth. And it's, you know, a lot of movements and stuff, but it doesn't feel like it's the actual, like it's a person at all. Then it feels like, it feels like a person, but it's not the character still. It's just, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is the second level where it's not the character. A lot of times in Fullmetal Alchemist 2003, I thought that. And if you watch the OPs and EDs from Fullmetal Alchemist 2003, you get that feeling a lot where and in a lot of OPs and EDs, because people come into contract animate like the OP and ED, and they do a bunch of flashy like fist fighting and hand-to-hand combat, but it could be hand-to-hand combat between any characters. You feel like the weight of each strike and everything like that, so that's the quality animation, but it feels disconnected from the story and the series and the characters that are being on screen. So that transition between rest of show and high quality action is a hard thing to do. In this, all this to be said, this is an example of them doing it well, where I feel like when the king is getting fucked around right here, despite him not normally being in this situation, and despite like him not really being handled this way ever, when he is tumbling around here, I feel like that's the character I've been watching for the last 20. I not only feel like it's not just a bunch of drawings that are smoothly animated, I feel like it's a person. So it reaches that second level, but it also feels there's details about maybe it's the tail, maybe it's the way he uses the tail to brace himself, and there's sparks coming off of him bracing himself with the tail and then his knees. But when he's flying around here, and the stiffness of his shoulders and stuff like that, it feels still like him. It's a long point, but it's a grander idea that I'm kind of trying to think about, because more and more with like the Mappa shows coming out and everything, it's I'm thinking more about like how to put action, like high quality Sakuga action, and what makes it bridge that gap, I guess, like between story and then just action, because sometimes they can feel really divorced, you know what I mean?
And look how he's like protecting himself too, like in these, like, and he has his tail like looped around himself.
Yeah, it's like around his torso to kind of brace himself, to gird himself, and to use balance. Like when he's flying around, he sort of holds it out to like break the wind a little bit and break his fall into the pillar. There was a lot of recap this episode.
There was,
but not actually that much, but a little bit.
Shit, I had something else to say. Oh, it was so funny when we went down into I didn't say it because I was,
focused.
I was focused and didn't want to miss something. But like I was like, what? Did we just drop into the mines of Moria over here? Like, is the Balrog gonna come flying out right now? And then when he's like, and then I couldn't make a joke of the second thing because I didn't say that. Aww. But then he's like, it's a tomb. This is a tomb, and I'm like,
is that what Gandalf says?
He doesn't say your tomb, but it's like this is whatever. This isn't a mine. This is a tomb, or some very similar line to that.
Oh, when they first enter, right? Like this is this is a tomb.
And then they can't go out because there was that thing there, and then they have to go through.
Shit, I'm sorry. I wish I didn't say anything. I was making my own jokes. I was making my own joke. Like I was kind of joking to try and let you stay into it and not have to talk. Yeah.
I felt like I had missed the moment for it, and then I didn't. Fuck. No, it's fine. It had nothing to do with you. It was just the fight was so crazy.
What do you think about the whole NETERO thing? I want to go back to what he said.
Yeah, me too, actually. I just thought that it was funny that I had like made a joke in my head, and then the exact follow-up that I needed for that joke happened in the show, but I hadn't said the first part, so I couldn't be like, oh yeah, and then explain my whole thing during after he said that.
Do you want to record like a pickup of your reaction? Just like, Just like I could cut to you saying it if you want.
No.
Do it.
No, that's
Do it.
so dumb.
Do it. It's really
that's
funny.
so stupid. I'm not doing that.
Flex your acting capabilities. So he says two things here. He
Yeah.
says like, when was it that I began to wait for my opponent to attack? Meaning like when we saw his previous flashback, he was the challenger. He went out into the wilderness to better his mind, body, and soul, and to give gratitude to his martial art that gave so much to him and to the world. So and then he came back and he challenged, and then he became the master of this school. And that's what he's talking about there. So like, when did I stop attacking? When did I start being the challenge?
And also, it's kind of the same thing. Like, when did I stop? Well, first of all, he was kind of just too powerful, but it's like he was no longer seeking out a challenge. He was never having to prove himself. He was just the like standard that everyone else could prove himself against.
So then he's like, and then so it's two things. It's like he says that, and then he does the big attack, and then he's like, adding on to that I stopped hesitating to be gracious, taking the hands of vanquished opponents when they bowed their heads in defeat. What does he mean by that?
I think that's mean that he got used to winning. Like he got used to just like he no longer felt undeserved of like, oh no, it's okay. Like he just, as far from what I'm thinking,
I think he's like hesitate because like when you're the challenger, it's like there's a hesitation to be gracious because you see them as your enemy, you see them as a challenge, you see them as something to be conquered. But he stopped hesitating to be gracious because he was winning. He was being challenged.
Yeah, he was winning so much.
He was on the top of the ladder. People were trying to reach up to him and failing. So then he was gracious. He stopped hesitating to be gracious to them. He was gracious to them. And while they bowed their heads in defeat, took their hands, even though he yearned for what's going on now, to not be the challenge, to reach to a greater height.
But yeah, basically he just got used to being better than everyone and like comforting them in their loss because he always won.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is kind of what he's been waiting for 50, 60 years. He was... I forget, they gave us roughly his age. I think he's supposed to be 100 and... I forget if he's around 120. I think he's like 100... I forget if he's 116 or 161 or something like that. Let me look up. Hang on. Don't look. 120. He's 120 years old. Extended his life, obviously, because of Nen and controlling his Nen output. He keeps his life inside of him, and he's a master at that, obviously. So he's 120 and still fit enough to fight the strongest creature the world has ever seen.
And I love how he's still like also like way weaker than he used to be as well. Like
he's past his prime.
Like the ants are lucky they did not come along
40 years ago.
40 years ago. They would have just he wouldn't have needed to bring all these guys.
They would have got fucking
just
wiped.
Fly in here and kill all of them.
They would have got fucking wiped.
And then all of this.
If only the NETERO back then, like, you know, he wouldn't be like, when was the last time he'd be like, finally, the time has come again. You know,
he wouldn't have gotten so used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole part
and all the shit with pitou. Gon is too dangerous. He's too dangerous. If he gets to the king, who knows what could happen.
Which is so interesting as well, because obviously if Gon got to the king, he would just get clapped like instantly. But he is so determined and his will is so strong, and that is like much more dangerous than people who are like someone like NETERO, who like, you know, it's like
that scares pitou more.
Yeah, it's more, you know, even if someone else is stronger, the fact that he is so vicious in his determination is unsettling.
Yeah.
And he won't give up. He won't just go home for any reason until
neither will NETERO.
Neither will NETERO, but just the... But like between I don't know. It's
I think with pitou here, it's a really weird thing, because like we know Gon isn't as powerful as NETERO, right? Like we know that.
Yeah.
So like pitou is, what does that mean that pitou's saying? What could that mean? Like it's like Yeah, I think it just means that the resolve and the depth of, like, Pitou probably knows better than pretty much everyone how resolved and how strong the king is, really. Mm-hmm. So, for Pitou to be afraid of Gon meeting the king means, I think Pitou would know that Gon isn't strong enough at this point, but it's, yeah. I think Pitou's just like, this is the threat. This is a serious threat. This could become a serious threat. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like as well that it was revealed that Pitou gave a long estimate of the time.
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking, I don't think we ever talked about it, but I've been thinking like, oh, it's like, that's too bad that Pitou didn't do that, basically. Yeah. I was like, oh, that kind of sucks that you couldn't just really overestimate. So it's like if, you know, you're trying to, yeah, but you did. So it works out really good. And, but then it's shortened by 10 minutes, but then it also works out just fine. And, it's just so, it's so sketchy and it's still so scary. And yeah, Pitou's like, well, what am I going to do? I should just fight him and kill him straight away. But then the entire point of this was to protect a super vulnerable person here. So but no one else is around. And even if Pouf and Youpi were around, I wouldn't trust her to them because they could just, Pouf would probably literally just murder her. And Youpi wouldn't really care too much either way. So it's just a sketchy situation. And then it's like, what does it come down to? Does it come down to, you know, if Killua is around or if Knuckle is around, giving her to like the enemy basically because they wouldn't kill her, you know? It's a really, for Pitou, it's a really difficult situation. Also because she's just been in there locked away from everything, has no idea what the situation is outside other than what she's being told from multiple different people.
Mm-hmm. And then also, like,
What?
It's just with the way Gon's sitting, it's and with Pitou sort of, oh, my fears are confirmed. He's scary. I should not let him near the king. It's like the way that he's talking, the way that he's sitting, his whole demeanor, his whole level of focus is so exactly like the king.
Before, like how he would literally just sit there and like stare blankly ahead, full of rage, and just be like, yeah, just do this.
Just like, waiting for somebody to twitch across the room in a way that he doesn't like. Like, so the fact that it seems to be sort of ringing the same bell in her head. Is my thought. That's why she's like afraid. It's like, he's not just some kid. This is he's this kid. This kid.
Mm-hmm. And fucking Pouf.
Pouf just like trying to play these mind games, and then Gon's just like, in a similar way that the king has done in the past, of like, Pouf, don't fuck around with me, okay? Like listen. I don't ask you shit twice. I don't repeat myself. Don't fucking play games with me, or I will rip your goddamn head off. Like that's the same shit, and that's exactly how Gon was acting here. And Pouf had no answer to it. He just exploded and flew away, all dramatic.
Well, and it's because he wouldn't have flown away and done that if he hadn't realized that he doesn't need Pitou.
Well, he realized that before that.
I know, but now it was the perfect opportunity for him to have an excuse to, like, get him all riled up and then leave, causing, he doesn't care what happens here. He doesn't care if Gon's just like, oh, fine, I'll fight you right now. He doesn't care. He's out of there. And then he can go fight Knuckle in the yard. Yeah.
It's like rather than just like walking out and declaring whatever, he like explodes into 1,000 pieces and laughs maniacally. As if to goad Gon on more and to like spit in his face like, oh, you said that Komugi would die if I did anything. Well, fucking go right ahead, like in the biggest way possible.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Pitou's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Please forgive him. And he's just like 10 minutes less. And then Knuckle as well, who is having real he's having real more issues coming up with a way that he can go forward here, because he's obviously not fast enough. He can run for a long time. He could run probably longer than anyone else, as we learned. His stamina is unreal, but he can't catch up to Pouf and Youpi flying.
Yeah.
And if he did, what could he do? What is he gonna do? He's gonna do things his own way, whatever that means. We'll see what that means, but he also didn't tell Gon about what happened with Youpi because he's having complications with this morally. So, and he doesn't know how Gon would react, but also, like, if Gon is the person that he knew, then Gon might react differently as well. Possibly.
It's an interesting situation and very similar to Killua's grandpa and NETERO at the beginning, how they're like, we're not going to say anything and we're going to let you draw your own conclusions. Because everyone in this situation has a job to do, but also everyone is having their own moral struggles on what to actually do. On both sides of what the right thing to do is here. So, you know, and I think that's also the thing is that Knuckle has made up his mind in a way of like where he kind of draws the line and what he's willing to do, but he doesn't want to do that for Gon. He doesn't want to like impose his feelings on Gon. He wants to let him do what he needs to do, whatever that means for him.
Crazy stuff, everybody. We're moving right along. Unless there's one more look through.
Just make sure there's nothing else around here.
Oh yeah, I still hadn't rewatched that episode that I skipped by this point when I first watched. This is literally like what I said, like imagine you hadn't seen that episode. When they were like recapping everything, I was like, wait, what the fuck happened there? I completely missed, I can't wait to get to that. Like I thought that like this whole, like, and it kind of weirdly, it makes sense if you view it that way. Like the way that Knuckle is talking about like, oh, things are complicated, and then it flashes like all the stuff with Youpi, and it's like, whoa, what the fuck happened there? That changes things, you know? Like, I wonder what happened there. It's like as if it was set up for like a reveal or something.
It's also so interesting how Pouf is just planning this whole takedown of the other royal guards. Like he's just like, I'm gonna find out why Youpi didn't kill him, and if I don't like the answer, Youpi's going down. Like.
Yeah, oh, that's actually something interesting. So Pouf doesn't like that he spared these people. What do you think the king would think about that? After sitting down to talk with NETERO after Komugi, what do you think the king would be like? What do you think the king would say to that? Isn't that interesting?
That is a really interesting thing to talk about because it's interesting because the king has like gone through his own thing of deciding who he thinks is valuable.
Worthy.
He meets NETERO and is immediately like, yes, I would spare you, essentially. You deserve to live. But it has not been tested or seen as to whether or not people that other people decide are worthy, like...
Kind of like Gon again.
Like, yeah, it's like, does he, like... Because he's the king, he gets to decide, will he, like, if his advisors are like, oh, I respect and believe in this person, does the king then need to go and validate that? And then where does it stop? And that's kind of the whole problem. It's like, if you're like, oh, I think that you are worthy and deserve to live. And then it's like, okay, well, because you're now viewing them as a person and someone who you think is a person, do you then entrust their opinion of who they think is worthy to, like...
I think that, that's kind of what Gon does, and I think if I had to take a guess, at this point in the story, I think that's what the king would do. I think that if especially seeing the change in Youpi, I think the king that we're seeing now trying to talk to NETERO face to face, withstanding blows afterwards, taking a vast amount of disrespect that he would not have fucking stood for originally. I think this version of the king would have entertained an explanation on Youpi's behalf. And if Youpi, because he is so honest, he's so, like, he's not as, like, instinctual, full of rage, just like a tool to be wielded by the king, as he was before. Since he learned to control his emotions, his emotions have now deepened. But he's not a schemer, and I think the king would be able to see through that pretty quick if he was. He sees through Pouf being a little schemer. So I think that if Youpi showed up and, like, clumsily said, like, I just didn't have it in me to, like, take him down at that time, I didn't think it'd be honorable, essentially. I think that, and, you know, it wouldn't be right if he said something like that. I don't think the king would, like, take it as an infraction against his honor as the king.
It's interesting to think about because, I think that weirdly previously, the king didn't like when the royal guards like kind of had their own opinions. He wanted them to just be doing whatever he said, and I think that is not really true anymore, but he still doesn't like them telling him what to do. He doesn't like, and that's why Pouf is kind of a problem for him all the time, because Pouf thinks that he knows best and that the king should listen to him. He's not actually trying to help the king in regards to what the king might actually want to hear, or like he's not like, oh, I'm putting this out for your consideration because I think that you would be interested in this, or like with Youpi, where it's like, I just feel like I really have to tell this to you, that I feel this way. With Pouf, everything is a scheme, everything is part of a grand plan to make the king do better in the way that Pouf thinks. So yeah, I think that the king would be interested, potentially, in seeing what happens after his subordinates have like gained personalities, essentially.
Yeah, it's like how when he was talking, when Pouf was like, no, stop, don't go any further, and he was talking about like, that child I killed in that field when I first went on my birthday, maybe they could have grown into someone like Komugi. Maybe they could have been a master at some game. Maybe they could have gotten really strong or offered something to society or something. And then he's like, no, I'm the king. And then he immediately flips back to like, caring for Komugi. So like, I think that as we see more that side, this fight may change that. You know, this fight will determine first of all, if he lives or dies, but if he does live afterwards,
what he has kind of settled on.
Yeah, what his personality will be and how he deals with shit like that. And that's why this is so critical, and that's why NETERO is continuing to fight on a grander scale. I think NETERO, proven by this episode, it doesn't really give a shit about any of that. It seems more like he cares about fighting him.
Yeah.
And feeling alive again after all this time, basically.
Because, because he could have, even though he didn't prepare for it, he could have had more of a conversation with him just to feel him out, but then he wouldn't be able to fight him, and then still might need to,
Yeah. Leave a like and subscribe. Check out Patreon. See you in the next one. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.